Hi, welcome to week 16's instructional video. Let's dive into all of your new objectives for this week. For your language objective, you have understands and uses opposites. This is a fun one for preschoolers. It's likely one that they have already encountered many times. So we'll give that some focus this week. Not only the sort of traditional and easy to use opposites that preschoolers typically encounter. So, hot, cold, up, down, fast, slow. Continue to look for opportunities to work those in, to point those out to your child. There's all sorts of books and usually videos, probably some of their favorite television programs feature opposites. But then also build on this knowledge by trying to incorporate some of the less frequently heard opposite pairs. So these could be things like soft and hard, smooth and rough, old and young, left and right, few and many, light and dark. Those are just a few examples of some of the ones your preschooler might not encounter so frequently. So look for some opportunities to work those in as well. You can play a simple opposite game. You can do this while you're waiting in line somewhere, while you're driving in the car. Just take turns naming something that has an opposite and asking your child to name its pair, and then vice versa. Your child will name something and then you name the opposite pair. And this pairs really well with our cognitive objective for this week, which it falls into the analyzing category and is making connections between and comparing and contrasting different pieces of knowledge. So you can build on this language objective and use it to fulfill the cognitive objective as well. And a really fun way to do this can be a really engaging and silly game that preschoolers absolutely love to play and will want to continue to play until you're sick of it, is to sort of create your own opposites by naming something that technically doesn't have one, and then challenging your child to think of what an opposite for it might be. So that could be something like, what would be the opposite of an elephant? Now, this obviously doesn't have a correct answer, but it challenges your child to think about that and then to be able to explain, if they can, like why they answered what they did. Would they answer a whale because it's an ocean animal instead of a land animal? Would they answer a mouse because a mouse is really small and an elephant's really big? They could give a variety of reasons, and maybe you go first and you illustrate for them, what you're talking about and give a reason why. Another thing, you could do it with food. What is the opposite of macaroni and cheese? Is it broccoli because that's a healthy vegetable, or is it cookies because that's a dessert? So just about anything, you challenge your child to think of things and then try to come up with what an opposite for that might be. Is the opposite of your television a book? The possibilities are endless, but it challenges your child cognitively to think creatively, think out of the box, and to compare and contrast, pull all of these different pieces of knowledge that they have on whatever that topic is, whether it's everything that they know about food or everything that they know about animals, to compare those bits of information to try to find something that makes sense as an opposite. Under the literacy objectives for this week, we are to the letter P. So P is an unvoiced consonant. It should be P. Not made with your voice. So you put your hand on your throat, you shouldn't feel your voice box. So make sure that you don't add the schwa to the end. It should be P, not P. And so your child, you'll be able to tell the difference easily with the little test if your child is saying the letter correctly. For math, assuming that we've mastered counting by ones to 100, we're going to start working on counting by tens. So if your child has mastered counting to 100 by ones, now's the time to step this up and show them how to use their number chart and how to count by tens and start reinforcing that into their memory. And then we're also identifying and naming common 2D shapes. So we're revisiting shapes, two-dimensional shapes, making sure your child recognizes them and can point them out and give their names. And also we're revisiting some time words and incorporating time measurement words, for instance, minute and hour, instead of more vague words like, for instance, today and tomorrow. going to start using, these measurement words that we use for, standard measurements of time. Under fine motor skills, we are finally to the tripod grasp, which is the official grasp of holding a pencil, using the pads of the index and middle finger along with the thumb. So we're finally there. We're working on properly holding a pencil or crayon, and also continuing to practice some of the more foundational skills for that. So one gross or cylindrical grasp activity, one spherical grasp activity, and one bilateral hand coordination activity. Under the category of social and emotional learning and self-awareness, we have showing recognition of self as a unique individual, which your children certainly are. And under social awareness, we have beginning to understand that different people have different abilities. So a wonderful, wonderful bit of awareness of ourselves and others for this week's social and emotional objectives. For your project for this week, hopefully it's really pretty this time of year where you are, but even if it's not, I encourage you to try to get out and work on this objective anyway. It's a nature notebook activity. So if you started a nature notebook, as was recommended back when we were working on like the bird feeder activity, then this is a great time to continue using it. And if you didn't start one, now is the perfect time to do it. So this activity is about getting out on a nature walk and exploring and observing and recording the things that you observe. But it also incorporates a lot of other skills because it encourages you to document what you find, whether it's with a camera or whether it's by drawing the things that you notice, and then maybe coming back and looking at guidebooks or looking online and trying to identify the different birds and plants and animals or the type of rocks that you find. So I encourage you for this project to try to find an area. What you're looking for is a real natural landscape that incorporates lots of local native plants and animals. So in other words, you're not looking for a real manicured park or garden with a lot of artificially planted plants. You want something that's more of a natural environment if possible. So you can check with your local town's Department of Parks and Recreation. That's a really good resource to find like local green belts or walking trails. There's usually a lot of natural habitat in those areas. Visit a local pond or lake. Even urban areas have green spaces. You're just looking for something that does incorporate a lot of plants that would naturally be native and animals and birds to your environment so that you can show your child their local ecology. Again, this works on observation skills, research skills. As you come home and you look up, what types of birds you saw, you are going back to the objective where we showed them how to use various different sources when they want to find out a piece of information. You're practicing that here. You're practicing the scientific method of documenting what you observe. So many different skills here in addition to just having a break from a normal playtime, normal worksheets, and normal school time, and getting out and enjoying nature and developing an appreciation for nature. So this is a really fun one. And again, I hope you have good weather for it, and we'll see you next week.